Hello, I'm Robin Bresnark, the Brand and Creative Director at Buyapowa. Welcome to Referral Marketing MVPs, where it's my privilege to speak to some of the people at the coalface of referral marketing, the real people who make it happen. Over the course of this series, we're going to speak to lots of different people, lots of different brands. We'll ask them how they got into referral, why they chose it, what they've learned, what mistakes they've made, where they see referral going in the future. It's great fun. We've had some incredibly interesting and insightful chats with people. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So, particularly if you're thinking of trying referral for the first time, or maybe you've been doing it for a while, but you've kind of hit a plateau, this is masterclass stuff. Sit back, enjoy, and stay tuned to our channel where there'll be more of these over the coming weeks and months.
I'm Natasha Saviuk. I lead growth, engagement, and lifecycle at Wealthsimple. For those who don't know what Wealthsimple is, it's the largest fintech in Canada. We have over 3 million clients. The company launched about just over 10 years ago with about 1,000 employees. And our mission as a company is to really help investors achieve financial freedom through a suite of financial tools, which includes commission-free stock and ETF buy and selling, crypto, manage invest, which is kind of like a diversified portfolio that clients can invest in passively, and finally Wealthsimple Cash, which is kind of like a high-interest bank account. And referrals for us is a key way that we gain market share and that we can help drive this mission. So in my team, referrals is one of the channels that we really care about to drive growth and user acquisition.
Has it been that way since the start? Was it kind of baked in right from the beginning, or is it something you came to a little bit after launch?
I'm not sure exactly when the referral program started. It was definitely already running by the time that I joined the company and started working on it. But it's there's always a lot of room for improvement with referrals. Sometimes it's not exactly what you expect. So hopefully something I could kind of get into with you today.
Yeah. Any FS product, I guess, like the key thing is trust, right? I mean, essentially you're giving your money to people and you need to know that they're going to do good things with your money. And I guess like referral, better than, taking out a TV advertisement or a billboard or something where you say, we're good with money. It's like, well, you are going to say that, aren't you? But hearing it from a friend and, I invested with these people and it worked really well and this is my return. I guess you can't really get better marketing than that. So I guess referrals kind of a no-brainer for you guys.
Definitely. I think like anybody who's launching a referral program for the first time, one concern could always be with, fraud or the quality of the users that get referred. But we actually see that clients that are referred tend to invest more with us in the first 30 days and over the long term. And they're also a lot less likely to churn. So to your point, when a friend is the one recommending the product to you, you have probably a higher affinity for that product. And we see that referrals as a channel actually attracts very high quality users. Naturally, work closely with the fraud team too to make sure that everything's above board. But generally speaking, we see that it's a very effective channel at driving high quality user acquisition. And exactly what you said. So with referrals, we actually control the cost of what we're giving to clients. We set the criteria of what that conversion has to be. So unlike other paid channels where you're spending and you pray for the best with the conversion rate and that your funnel's going to work correctly, with referrals, we only pay for the conversion that has actually happened, and we are the ones who set the criteria for what those conversions are. So in that sense, referrals is a really good channel for controlling ROI and controlling CAC, but it's also very kind of future-proof in a certain way where if your paid campaigns or market conditions change, referrals can remain a really robust channel for Wealthsimple, but for any company.
Right, because like you say, you're only paying out if you've got money in. And I can't think of
Exactly.
many other channels where that actually happens. Usually you kind of have to spend and hope and speculate and you guys are, you're in the business of not making wild speculations. Right?
Exactly.
That's kind of your business. I've always thought the big trend, a few years ago, that so many brands are spending a huge amount of money on influencer marketing,
Yeah.
and that's fine. And I support that. But I always thought it was kind of weird that you would go to someone and say, "Here's a big chunk of money. You may send us some customers, or you may send us some clicks, but those people might not even convert in the end." But no one ever kind of got paid according to performance with that model. And yeah, the capitalist side of me has always kind of been, this is good. Pay people for what they actually deliver, not what they say they might deliver or what you hope they might deliver, but real attribution in that way. And I've never come across anything like referral for that. So it's good to hear that that's your perspective. Tell me about the program that you run itself. What are the mechanics? How does it work?
Yeah, so Wealthsimple's referral program, it's a two-sided referral. The referrer and the referee get flat $25 when the referee has completed their first funding action, so opened an account and funded it. And there's also a sliding scale of the bonus that clients can get that's contingent on the net worth of who they're referring. So the minimum is $25, but you can actually get up to $1,000 based on how much the person you're referring deposits in those first 30 days of being a client. And that element is two-sided as well.
Right. Oh, it's in what way is it two-sided? So
In the
both
sense
parties get money?
that exactly. So
Okay.
both parties have that minimum of $25, but depending on how much the referee brings in, you'd both get that boost.
Okay.
So
Okay.
both the referrer and the referee get the boost, exactly.
And that's on tiers rather than it being kind of flat percentages or something like that. There's kind of
Exactly.
right.
So that's kind of an insight we got just in general with referral or with incentives, but definitely applies to referrals, is that sometimes you don't want to give those richer incentives because the blended value is just not there. But when you offer tiers, it's a way for you to unlock the ability to give higher rewards or higher incentives, but actually make sure that the ROI makes sense on those higher rewards. So in that sense, we can give you up to $1,000 on both sides, but it's conditional on meeting a certain minimum criteria. So tiers are definitely a great way to be able to give more generous incentives while preserving the ROI of your of your overall incentive or referral campaign.
And there's a kind of a very gentle kind of version of upsell in there as well, right? That people sort of, may they may invest, they may be thinking of doing it, but this might just give them that little push over the edge to actually, go all in, but in a very gentle way. There's nothing, you don't have to do anything. It's purely a bonus. And that's, I think, the way that you describe your rewards as well, which I really like, that you call them bonuses rather than rewards, which I guess is the industry kind of standard term. I like the
Yeah,
idea of it being a bonus. That's good.
totally.
Yeah. Um, have you ever considered doing tiers based on the number of referrals? So the first person you bring in, you get this, and it might grow as you kind of hit further tiers. Is that something you've experimented with or considered?
Yeah, that's something that we've done in the past and works incredibly well. So when it comes to referral programs and making them successful, if I was just starting this program from scratch, I would really care about getting the incentive right and making sure that people are aware of my referral program. On the incentive side, we see two-sided incentives work really well,
Mhm.
but it's good to test with different things and run limited time promos because again, it gives you an excuse to remind your clients that you have a referral program in the first place. And one of the promotion types that works the best is exactly what you're describing, where
Okay.
based on the number of referrals you make, the client gets an increasingly exponential bonus.
Wow.
It especially for clients that maybe are inclined to be repeat referrers or have a bigger network, we really see it effective at tapping into those networks and getting people to kind of saturate the number of referrals that they can make.
That's brilliant. You're doing all of the things I talk about and recommend to our clients to do. That's very exciting. Do you time box those kind of things then? So it's like if you do it within this month, then you get that kind of those tiered rewards?
Exactly. So
Right.
for us, it's been really effective as a limited time incentive that
Hmm.
we can turn on as many times per year as we want, but have it be a time boxed campaign
Yeah.
where those referrals need to be made within a critical window. We see that, the number of referral shares, the number of, share my referral button clicks just skyrockets during that period, especially in those first couple weeks of the promo, and that we just have a boost of referrals during that time period. But again, I
Right.
think for us, just cycling through different promos and having a baseline that works well and coming to our clients with different types of offers is what helps keep the program top of mind for our client base.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, I think, the perfect way to do these things. So you have an evergreen program that's always there. People understand it, they're familiar with it, but you don't let it go stale. You keep changing things. You'll have these kind of limited offers. You introduce element of FOMO to people. It's like, I was going to tell Debbie, and I really better do it now, because if I do it next week, I'm
Exactly.
not,
It really
you know,
drives the why now
yeah.
part of the equation.
Do you find that most of the referrals happen within the early stages of someone becoming a client, or do people continue to refer throughout their stay with you, their
Yeah.
tenure? What would you call it? Let's call it a
I
tenure.
like call it client tenure, but could
Okay.
be, I'm sure there's other terminology. So for us, clients definitely refer their friends at any stage in their life cycle, but we definitely see that clients are the most likely to refer in that first 30-day window. They're actually 10 times more likely to refer than clients later on. Probably just because when you're a new client, you're excited, you found a solution to a problem you're having, and finance being so important and relevant to people, I think that they're inclined to share it with their friends or tell their friends about it. And especially when you've had a kind of aha moment in the app, for lack of a better way to put it, we see a lot of referral activity around those times. So as an example, with Wealthsimple, when you see how easy it is to fund the app or how easy it is to purchase a stock for the first time, those are key moments where we see that after clients complete those actions, they become a lot more likely to refer. So you can imagine, I mentioned kind of incentives and awareness being two key parts of kind of getting your
Mhm.
program off the ground. We definitely want to nudge clients after they've
Right.
completed those actions as a really time-based, relevant moment to encourage them to refer their friends to the app.
Okay, so you kind of you flag and surface that message at those key moments to
Exactly.
encourage them to refer.
Yeah, both
Brilliant.
in the app and through our traditional lifecycle channels like push and email. And that's been a really effective strategy for us.
Brilliant. And again, it's something that people need to think about. That um, I've always thought, when it comes to promoting a program, you've got two sides. You have activation and you have discovery. So
Yeah,
activation will be, people that don't know you have a program. So tell them we have a referral program and it's brilliant and you should use
exactly.
it. But then there's discovery as well, that people need to know where to go to find it. Um, and one of the things I love about your program is that you're very clear that it lives in the app. It's
Yeah.
not an internet web based thing. It's an app based thing. So it's, I guess, for the people that really get hands on with your program.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was really important for us to make sure that the program was as discoverable in the app as possible. I think that's
Hmm.
something that's sometimes overlooked
Yeah.
in referrals, but yes, people tend to focus a lot on the incentive piece, but it's actually so much more than that. And sometimes other areas like making it, increasing your top of funnel because people know it exists can be as effective as some, maybe incremental improvement on the actual incentive itself.
Yep.
Likewise, if we're thinking about optimizations, of course, making it discoverable in the app, having the right triggers or event-based
Yeah.
triggers or maybe attribute-based triggers. So again, I mentioned after you purchase your first stock is a great moment, but it could also be when you reach a certain milestone in the app, a certain investment milestone, for example. Um, so that's really effective as a way to to driving the top of funnel can be
Yeah.
as effective as
Yeah.
using that incentive to increase the conversion rate of people who are more kind of lower in the funnel.
And when you start thinking in those terms, and again, this is kind of, it's next level referral. You guys are awesome at what you do. But when you start having those thoughts, there's kind of no end to the number of events that suddenly become relevant. So your 1 year anniversary of opening an account, all of a sudden that's something that you can celebrate. The customer's birthday, there's any number of things, the sorts of things that I guess retail has done for years and years and years,
Yeah.
but more kind of industries like FS haven't had the opportunity to capitalize on the tricks that retail have been able to enjoy for years. And I say tricks, I don't mean tricks. You're not making anyone do anything they don't want to do, but ultimately opportunities, really great opportunities to give people something that they'll want. But the idea of thinking of events like that, like when would be a good time to tell them about this? Because sometimes it's not a good time as well, and what I find is when people promote the referral programs, they'll do a blanket kind of push to everyone, and that can be fine, but also chances are the majority of people that get that are not going to be interested at that moment. So if
Mhm.
you can start to identify the moments when an individual will actually be interested, it's better for you and it's better for them because they'll feel less kind of, spammed and harassed.
Yeah,
Um,
precisely. I think there's two things that you're touching on, which one is, or I think that that's where these limited time promos come in, is it's a good opportunity to, communicate to our clients more in masses, but within, the typical life cycle of a client or in a given year, there are certain actions that clients can take where they become a lot more, or referrals becomes a lot more, they become a lot more likely to refer. So if
yeah.
you can combine both of those and just have maybe your evergreen always on triggers or a certain cadence of reminding clients about your referral program by changing it in some way, layer within that event-based triggers, or as you said, it could be a certain milestone, could be your tenure as a client, is a good way to drive continued awareness of the program and continuous increase in your referrals.
What other learns have you made in the time that you've been working on this?
Yeah, so as I alluded to, people tend to focus a lot on the incentive itself, but there's a few different areas of referrals that could be just as impactful as the incentive itself. So when I think of referrals, there's really four main pillars that I care about. The first, obviously, being the incentive. That's what's going to motivate clients to take action or not.
Yeah.
But then you also have awareness, as we've touched on. So how
Mhm.
easy is it to discover the program in the app? Are we reminding clients that the program exists or triggering them at moments that, maybe they're more likely to refer? Are we properly nurturing them with our lifecycle marketing? Then we have the actual sharability. So this is
Mhm.
often overlooked, but just make it as easy as possible for clients to share their referral link. One thing that we did on the Wealthsimple Cash program in the early days is that we saw that a lot of referrals were coming from Instagram, and particularly what we did that worked very well was that we made the referral hub easily screenshotable to share directly in your Instagram stories. And that was something that was really game changing for how viral our referral program went. And at the time, Cash was a standalone app. It went viral like 3 times, #1 in the App Store, purely through referrals because, it kind of took off slowly. And then it's kind of like a fire that just completely takes over. So, um,
Codes.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. And just
link,
making it easy to share. And the last
yeah.
piece there would be around referee onboarding. So again, that's something that's often overlooked. And sometimes people have the temptation when they run referral programs to like add a landing page and then you enter your details on the landing page and then you have to send them, they'll text you the app and all of these different layers.
Right.
And as you can imagine, every additional step that you make a client do in onboarding reduces your total conversion rate.
Mhm.
So that's where the onboarding experience for the referee really shouldn't be overlooked. And there's a few things that as a team you could do. So if you know that a client is stuck somewhere in onboarding, but that they were referred, there are various strategies that you can apply to speak to them specifically, or maybe let their friend that referred them nudge them to complete it, or make it very clear that they're a few steps away from their bonus and what steps are left for them to complete. So if anything, the onboarding of a referee, there's a lot of opportunities to make it a more personalized and rich experience. And by doing that, we can significantly increase referrals, or the total referrals, in ways that don't add to the total cost of the program, but could greatly add to the efficacy. Or cost of the program, I mean by, cost per conversion. Obviously, if your program's looking better, it probably will cost more, but hopefully that's a good thing for your business.
Yeah, it's within ROI and it's fine.
Exactly.
Do you reference the referrer's name when someone does arrive? I know you want to keep that journey very lightweight, but is that something you do without a landing page? Is that something you can still do?
Yeah, it's something. So we are currently working on our referral program. There's a set of optimizations that we're doing. Having the name of the referrer or the context that you're in a referral flow are two things that, just based on client interviews and historical experiments we've run, we know are really important. Yeah. So if possible, just making that the fact that a client is indeed in a referral onboarding flow, that their bonus is going to be received at the end, and that, mentioning the friend who referred them, are all contexts that help give confidence to the person that's in the onboarding flow that they're in the right place. They just have a few more steps to complete, and that, they'll get their bonus at the end. But I think that maybe the name of the person that referred you is important, or maybe not. I really think that it's the context that you are at the right place that really matters, and kind of using that to guide the client to their, reward at the end, or their bonus at the end.
I couldn't agree more. And you're right. Like, landing pages can do various things. Yes, it can show the name, and that's fine. But fundamentally, what it does is you haven't made a mistake.
Exactly.
What you intended to do, you have done, and we have acknowledged it. And you're gonna get your bonus, and it's all fine. And I suppose it potentially allows you to capture an email address so that you can nurture if they don't convert straight away, which is potentially important for something where they're kind of not entirely sure. So you might want to just, get that marketing opt-in so that you can keep nurturing that referee at that point, totally. I suppose.
And that said, I think that for us, we saw that, having that added step of the landing page is not effective. But some companies that have, top tier referral programs do. So I think it really probably depends on your company, and if you want to use that landing page real estate to educate clients on the product, probably worth testing. In our experience, the experiment showed that, just get people into the app as quickly as possible and just focus on preserving the context. But I think that would probably vary a lot based on the specific product that or industry that you're in, and all of those different things. But even in fintech, it really varies based on
industry, location, demographic. All of those things make a huge difference. One thing that you guys do, which again keeps it really, really light, and I think is quite fairly unique and actually quite special, is that you can actually apply your referral code 30 days after you sign up, which I love, because what you're doing there is you're also weaving in the organic word of mouth that, Debbie tells Janet, but Janet didn't type in she just Googled you and she went there and everything, but there was a referral. And I love that. I love being able to take the offline referral and actually blend that with the online referral by giving people that, quite generous window of time to say, you know what, I actually was referred here. That's unusual. It's unusual mainly because the way things are tracked sort of prevents that happening, I suppose, with a lot of people. But it's really, really cool.
It's something that we saw is, typically to be in a referral flow, you have to use a specific link. But some people, exactly as you said, their friend told them about it. They went to the app store, downloaded the app, and then they're like, oh, but I didn't go through my friend's link specifically. And so that's where promo codes come in, and that's where that kind of 30-day window comes in. If you become a client and you realize that you didn't go through the right flow, you have the opportunity to kind of solve that yourself. Definitely saw customer service complaints go down when that was implemented, but it doesn't seem to be something that's really like abused in any any kind of way. So that's kind of reassuring as well, that it solved a customer pain point, but it hasn't really materially impacted,
Right.
people discovering that they can enter a promo code and trying to take
Sure.
advantage of that. I think people who are looking to get a bonus will typically just Google search a referral link they can use anyways. So
Yeah, and if they're going
that
to do it
problem
before,
already existed. It wasn't created by that
right,
process.
that's exactly right. They could do it before, they could do it after. But what you've done is you've turned a pain point, and that can be a pain point for a lot of people. You've turned it into a pleasure point. You've actually
Exactly. Yeah.
demonstrated to people, we're not here to deceive you in any way. We are very fair. We're human beings. And that's a wonderful message to send out to someone at the beginning of their experience with you. I think to know that kind of thing, that makes, if I were a client, I'd be feeling really good about you if I discovered something like that.
You kind of alluded to this at the beginning, but obviously in financial services, trust is really important. And so you can imagine that if a client's first experience with us is the referral program, we want to make sure that that experience is really positive and
Yeah.
garners trust, and not the opposite, where you can't get your bonus, you're extremely frustrated, but the next step is potentially consolidating all of your investments with us. So that would be
Yeah.
very disjointed if it wasn't a good experience. So we definitely are trying to over index on creating the best experience possible.
I love all of it. You guys are doing an amazing job. And I guess what it is you've actually thought about all of these things rather than just, oh, let's have a referral program because people have referral programs. You've actually thought, well, how does it fit with our brand? How does it fit with the messaging that we kind of want? And all of those things. How's it actually going to fit in with the lifetime journey? These are things that, exactly as you say, small differences can actually make a massive difference to the end results without disclosing anything that you don't want to disclose, of course. What kind of level of success have you seen with the program?
Our referral program, so as I mentioned, it's really to drive new user acquisition, and about a quarter of our new user acquisition comes via referrals. So that's been very successful. We're still trying to grow that and grow that
Yeah.
number through a set of different optimizations that we're doing, but the channel is quite significant for us. And as I mentioned, what's really great about referrals is that because we have a control on the CAC, what we're asking clients to do, it really gives us tight control over ROI. So as a company in financial services, market conditions really influence maybe our performance on other channels like paid social, or even Google search. People aren't necessarily flocking towards investment platforms when the markets are not doing so well. But referrals is one of those channels where, because our ROI is so tightly controlled and because it's coming through word of mouth, it's a bit more resilient across market conditions. So that's definitely an area where we want to continue investing in, really maximize, and know that it helps kind of future-proof our user acquisition stack a little bit across market conditions.
It's so interesting the way that you guys actually think about this in the way that someone may think about investments. You can have the more speculative things, and that's great, but make sure that you actually protect yourself with a bedrock like that, or something that's secure and safe and less.
Yeah, investment best practices are being applied to our user acquisition strategy too. Exactly.
I love that.
One of the things that we did was a complete deep dive of every app that we use or we think could be doing it well. And I think we came up with maybe a list of 20 different competitors, maybe only like 5 or 10 of which were specifically in fintech, but the rest were, maybe apps that people on the team had, were referred to or had been exposed to the program. And it really helps us shape a mental model of like, what are people doing? What are things that maybe we're interested in testing? And that kind of sets the early foundations of the things that we think we should do. And then the kind of step added onto that is, obviously there's super talented people working at Wealthsimple. So once we kind of know what the industry is doing and maybe have some of those tests and learnings and mental model shape, how do we take it to the next level? What are things that we can do that are very unique to us and our brand and our company that we want to layer into maybe industry best practices?
Outside of your role, have you ever referred someone to something yourself? Have you been referred? Is it something you do in your social life?
I definitely refer people to Wealthsimple, the app, sometimes
Yep.
selfishly to see how the referral onboarding is, but I naturally recommend it to everyone I can, even before I worked at the company. And I would say, likewise, I've been referred to Wealthsimple, so that one is definitely top of mind for me.
So what, people that don't know you work there?
Oh, they do now, of course, but I
Okay.
mean, in the
In the past, before.
yeah, in the past,
Have you,
exactly.
since you started working there, have you had a referral from someone who doesn't know?
That I work there? No, typically I'm quite candid. I'm just trying to, and usually telling people that I work there is part of the pitch, I think. And again, maybe that's the magic of referrals too, is that it's an element of trust building. So when I say, I work there, but I'm a user of the product, the majority of my assets are there, I think that really helps sell people that, okay, this is a trustworthy product. I'm talking to somebody who I can directly harass if anything's going wrong. So it's helping me build the confidence. So again, I think that, anecdotally, there's maybe an added layer by being an employee. But again, I think that when your friends are telling you about something, you're more likely to believe them than when it's the company trying to give you that message or whoever else.
Well, I've always said, like, your initial seed referrers, those are your employees. I mean, no one knows the company better than them. No one could sell it better than them, So absolutely, if people within your company are not referring, then there's something wrong
A
somewhere,
bit of
right?
a red flag. Yeah. If it's a product
Yeah,
you can't use and you wouldn't refer it, that's maybe a sign that you need to work on your product market fit a little bit before diving into referrals specifically.
actually, thinking of companies and people working, you guys you have a B2B referral program as well, don't you? Where is that right? Is that still up and running? Where people can contact their HR departments and say, I think as a company we should do business with Wilson. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's something that has been running and in experimentation, and definitely, as you can imagine, with this mission of driving financial freedom for Canadians, a lot of people, their group RSP or their, work investment plans is one of those significant investment accounts for them. So you can imagine that
Yeah.
capturing, it's a different strategy for user acquisition entirely, but again, referrals can work effectively for B2B as well as just direct to consumer as well. So
Yeah, you just have to kind of calibrate things. You have to be aware
exactly.
that one referral has a much higher value, and
Precisely. Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Things take longer and things are different, but you can still weave referral in, even for things beyond the small incremental acquisition of individual customers. Which is great. Again, that you guys are thinking about it on all the different scales
Yeah.
at which you operate. If you could, I like to finish with this. If you could earn a reward for referring a friend to anything in the world, someone who maybe doesn't have a referral program, what would that be? And what should you get?
That's a great question. I really like physical rewards. It doesn't have to be an item per se, but it could be, for instance, some sort of perk or access to something.
Yeah.
If only because typically those feel more valuable than they really are. So again, maybe this is the marketer in me speaking, but we have seen in our own internal tests that clients perceive physical things as more valuable than the cash equivalent for those things.
Yeah.
I definitely fall in the category of people that, I work at an investment company, I save as much as I can. So sometimes if I can get something that feels premium, but I can get it for free, that really speaks to me, because then I can just save more money and, get the perk. And I think that those are the types of referral rewards that interest me the most. Which is why I encourage us internally at Wealthsimple, but any company, to really try a lot of different types of things, because different incentives speak to different types of people. I know that's a bit of a non-answer, but I don't have a specific tangible thing in mind. Other than, I probably need new AirPods. So if there was a referral program for that, I would probably find a way to participate and find some people to convince to convert.
But then your reward should be like an exclusive color or
Yeah,
something,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Something limited, something money can't buy. Look, it doesn't apply with everything, but we do quite a lot of campaigns with clients where we gamify things. So
Yeah.
beyond just tiered rewards, we'll have a leaderboard.
Yeah.
And the person who refers more people than anyone else in, it could be a long period of time, it could be a year, might get a really, really awesome experiential reward. So you can think of a brand that perhaps sponsors an entertainment venue or
Mm-hmm.
something, meet and greet with your favorite band all of a sudden becomes, a little more interesting than just those base rewards. So if there's something that as a brand you are able to offer,
Yeah.
just the ability to influence a future product or the sorts of things that customers really value, but doesn't actually necessarily have a cost value
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, it doesn't
Sometimes
always
those
have to
things,
be money, exactly.
yeah, just to feel that you've got closer to a brand that you already love is a really cool thing. So always worth thinking about. Thank you. I have I have reached into your brain and extracted pure genius. You guys do genuinely have a wonderful program. I wish you huge success with it, and thank you so much for sharing all of your insight and all of your knowledge with everyone watching today.
Thanks for having me.